Good morning to you all. My name is Michail Papadimitropoulos, and I am a graduate of the National and Kapodistrian University of Athens. I'm also a postgraduate student of the University of Bristol. Now, today I will talk to you about the augmented reality simulations and how they can be used in modern education. Now, let's take a look at my presentation. So the title of my presentation is Augmented Reality, its connection to constructivism and the use in the modern classroom. I believe most of you have heard of virtual reality simulations where people are wearing VR headsets and they're immersing themselves in a digital world. But what about augmented reality? What is AR, augmented reality? Augmented reality is a new type of simulation and technological innovation which seemingly bridges the gap between the real and the virtual world. Unlike virtual reality simulations, VR, where the user is utterly immersed in a digital space, interacting with digital objects, AR simulations simply superimpose certain digital models on top of the real objects. Now let's take a look. So now here on the left, you can see how the two technologies look visually and how they differ. As it becomes apparent in the VR simulations on the left, the user's entire field of vision is obscured, and he or she is watching digital simulations projected into a digital background. In AR simulations, the user looks through a device. Now this can be virtual glasses or a smartphone or a tablet, and through the camera of the device, he can see the space around him with a 3D model superimposed on the background. Now, let's look at some current uses of the AR technology in other sectors. So, the games industry. We had a recent game which rose to popularity thanks to this new type of technology, AR, and that was Pokemon Go. When it comes to marketing, we have some international brands allowing such technologies, AR technologies, in order to increase their sales. And there seems to be interest by companies that sell navigation software and government agencies which look to create a more interactive experience for tourists. So, moving on. Now, how can AR facilitate constructivist learning in education? Before we discuss that, we have to explain what is constructivism. According to Kaufman, as constructivism underlines, learning takes place when students can build conceptual models that are both consistent with what they already understand and with the new content. A student constructs knowledge by basing it on existing information and then reorganizing it. Now, how can AR facilitate constructivist learning? Imagine being able to teach chemistry by allowing students to interact with a 3D model of a molecule and encouraging them to add elements or to break down some of its bonds to see what new substance will emerge. So AR has the ability to present and render 3D models of connections and patterns, such as chemical bonds, cellular structures, and recreations of historical sites. The learner can zoom in and examine the architectural details of the recreated archaeological site. They can break down the aforementioned chemical bonds and attempt to create new ones. Now, let's talk a little bit about the benefits that AR has over VR. Now, let's compare the two types of simulations. Most AR devices, such as AR glasses, tablets, and smartphones, are smaller and lighter than VR headsets, so they're convenient size. Um, Another benefit is that some people have reported motion sickness and disorientation when wearing VR headsets. But AR has fewer physical side effects. And that is thanks to their stationary nature of the 3D displays. And finally, availability. Now, AR devices usually cost less than VR headsets. And nowadays, smartphones have become more accessible. And now let's see the potential that AR has in the 21st century education. So AR can provide a more visual instruction of the curriculum. Now imagine being able to teach history by showing your students a 3D render of an ancient temple or an ancient warrior in front of their eyes. Additionally, vocational schools can teach the operation of heavy machinery through 3D models. So instead of bringing an expensive and heavy piece of machinery in the school and risk the students damaging it or injuring the students, trainees can safely practice on a 3D model. And what about edutainment? Edutainment is basically entertainment and education. So educational books, educational games, and AR technology can be used outside of the classroom and provide a fun experience of tangential learning. And finally, through the markerless AR system, kids can use their AR scanners during excursions or school trips to museums, which can lead to a more interactive experience. And since we talked about the benefits, we also have to discuss the challenges and the questions concerning the use of AR in education. I would say the biggest challenge is the accessibility. Will every single student need to wear head-mounted displays while the teacher designs a model in AR? Why is it assumed that every student will own a smartphone capable of rendering an AR bookmarker? And this is a serious issue because if they don't own one, if they don't own such a device, will it be provided by the school? And two more challenges, usability and effectiveness. Now, could it be that AR learning is perhaps too exploratory? Like, what if students simply play and tinker with the 3D model? How do we know they learn? So we need new assessment and examination templates for this type of instruction method. And finally, limited research concerning specific age groups. Now, most studies on the use of AR in education use university level students as their sample. So the level of collaboration that younger students can achieve at that age might differ significantly from the one achieved by college students. So we need to look at what age should we introduce AR technology. And finally, we conclude, augmented reality technologies are a new type of virtual environment simulation, which has generated much interest among tech companies and academics alike, according to Baca and Chen. AR does seem to be connected with the constructivist theory of learning and can potentially improve the methods of instruction of various school courses. But of course, we need additional research on the subject. Thank you very much for your attention, and these are my references.